Welcome to a new episode of the What Talk. Today we'll be digging into indoor versus outdoor training and how you can adapt your outdoor training indoors. If you have bad weather or you're going through an injury or you just have to do it indoor because of maybe lack of the time or different other reasons.
Yes. Yeah, and we also do, as usual, the weekly wrap up. Yeah, my week. Let's say that it doesn't feel like we're living in Girona lately. Uh, it's been weather-wise a bit crazy. Like today, I went out, it was sunny. Garmin was saying 15 degrees. Then 30 minutes after, it was raining like hell, and I was freezing. But yeah, so I did more or less a bit of the same as I did last week. So trying to do as much time as possible the days that I was expecting to have sun or at least not raining. The thing is that from the 4 days that I went out, I've been in the rain the fourth of them. I think I've accumulated around 4 to 5 hours under the rain for this week, which is really bad. On Monday, it was just the end, but it was like the 30 to 40 last minutes. It was really heavy rain. The only issue is that I was going through main roads and I was on with a light at the back of my bike, so it's you don't feel really safe. And I was like, I just want to get home as fast as possible, but I had VO2 the day after, so should I just take it easy? Should I just push? And I was trying not to feel cold because my body was not warming up and it was becoming so long. And the same happened on Wednesday, like just insane amount of rain, my body just not being able to warm up. And I was just pushing 300 for the way back, and my HR was 120, and I was like, please just do 150 at least, because I was without gloves and with shorts because it was 15 degrees in the end. But yeah, on the important sessions, Tuesday was BO2. I already spoke with you that I was not feeling the best, but like I was talking a lot to myself, like, okay, this is gonna be a really hard session. And what I think that helped me overcome the session, I also think it made it a bit harder than it actually was. Um, I don't know, like I was going with a friend, he was doing his fat max. For me, it's not really fat max, but it was already challenging enough for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And especially knowing that I had VO2, if I just had a zone two, it would be completely fine, or just a long ride, there's no issue. But like knowing that I would still have to do a big workout afterwards, yeah, not the best, not the best feeling. So just did the VO2. The third set, really good, like some of the best numbers I've had. And I think that it just the fact that I was pushing myself, like you just have to finish this, you just have to do it, just made it easier. And just then I extended a bit, caught by the rain, and then was able to go home. Friday. So yesterday, what do you want to say?
No, I think it was a really good workout considering your RPE for the session.
Yes.
It was a solid 9.
So I was sure it was not definitely not a 10. Like if I had to do one block more, I yeah, I would have vomit, but I would have been able to do it. And the once I got rid of the workout, my mind was, that's it. You're done. You're fine. You finished the workout. Now you do. And yeah, I was feeling way better. Uh, I think that 10 would not have been wrong, but it felt like, taking into account the 2 hours and a half before of the blocks and how strong I felt at the last block, I was like, yeah, just yeah, 9.5, but we don't have the half. So
Yeah, you went a bit harder on the last
mm.
sets of the
And then now
last.
I'm starting to feel a bit like in the beginning of this year that my heart rate is needing a bit more of my legs. And I think that maybe this Tuesday was the day for me to just try and go harder, but somehow I mentally I was not there. So I just did my usual watts instead of doing the 500. That is maybe what my heart rate needs for me to get to 157, 67, sorry. 57, I said it right. But yeah, like really good. I think I didn't recover as good as last week though, because I made it to Friday. Well, I actually made it to Thursday really fatigued, and I told you that I was not feeling the best to do the LT efforts, so I removed them on Friday.
It was the same average power, but 20 BPM more. Oh, wait, no, this is wrong. The BPM should be wrong.
From Tuesday.
Yes, from
I
Tuesday.
because I had no heart rate,
Yes, it only recorded 1 second or
which
something.
is when I connected
Ah,
to someone else's heart rate. No, but I like feeling wise, and after so many workouts, I know how I feel. Maybe slightly wrong, but I know when I'm closer to my VO2 and I or when I still can go a bit more. And I was just in between those two steps. And in the third one, when I just finished, I was like, okay, now we've done a good job instead of suffering on the three blocks. The second one was uh, not the best VO2 stress or not the best thing that I would be looking for on a VO2 workout. But I think also on Wednesday that I had to push more than I actually wanted to get home. That put a bit of pain on my legs and not helping me recover. And on Thursday, like, there was no way I was able to do an LT workout. So, like,
yeah.
even though you want me to work beyond fatigue, I think it was too much. So yeah, I just rode easy indoors. And then on Friday, just I was still not feeling the best on the legs. But I tried to do the hour again at 350, which taking into account last week's seemed doable. And but yeah, from the fifth minute, I was already my legs were just willing to give up. But aerobically, I was feeling really good, so I just tried. Okay, just I had the calories in the MyWoosh UI, and I was like, at least make it to 1,000 calories, which more or less was around 40 minutes, or I was thinking it was slightly earlier. And then the route that I picked, it was 24 Ks, and it was finishing at the end of a climb. And I was like, you just need to finish the climb. So I just found two things for me to keep going.
To grab.
Yeah, but once I passed the 40 minute, I think I had like 2.5 kilometers left, which was roughly 10 minutes, and I was at 45 minutes. But
So do you think it's important having a small goal like this for
it could
indoor?
help for especially long workouts or efforts that it's more about the mind rather than the legs. But in my case, like my mind was chilling. My legs were like, nah, there's no way I can keep going. And I had been pushing myself for the 20, then 25, then 30. And when you've been going so much, it reaches a point that, nah, I was so fatigued. I was so fatigued. That's why it's not an RP of 10, because aerobically, I think, and even after looking at this activity and last week's activity, my heart rate was following the same pattern. It was going up, obviously. It was accumulating fatigue, but it was not because it was around 15 watts more. It was not like my heart rate was 10 BPM higher per minute. It was nearly the same. And
Yeah.
I was feeling that. I was feeling that my heart rate wasn't suffering that much. I was obviously with a ventilator, with a fan, I mean. But yeah, my legs were simply not there. And today, again, as I said in the beginning, sunny, then hail, then sunny again. It's been really bad. I still have my hands a bit uh, sensible from the cold. Like it hurts, but yeah, part of the game. I don't know. I think it's a good week. I'm a bit about the workout on Friday, and also the weather hasn't helped that much. I just think I needed maybe on Wednesday to be able to do a long ride, but easier. Like I was enjoying it because it was sunny, but then it wasn't sunny. So yeah, it's not. It also doesn't help mentally when you see that the weather is not what you would like to. But I think it's a solid week. Honestly, I just don't want another week like this. But yeah, it's going to happen. No, I just want to go. I think the second is the hardest. But yeah,
Yeah, because you know it's right in the middle
yeah,
and you have one more week to go of
a
of
lot of
pain
pain.
and load. Yeah,
Also, I really want to go out with the TT now. Like I just hope that on Friday I would have been able to go with the TT. Like I'm kind of missing it. Thing is that if I don't feel the safest with a 30 on my wheels, if I have to go on a 25 and with rim brakes,
yeah,
it
maybe not
doesn't.
the safest
I
in
just don't feel like
carbon
it.
wheels as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Not worth it.
No, not really. You'll have to wait until next week. Maybe it gets better.
Hopefully. What about yours? How has it been?
I'm just easing into back to training.
Mm-hmm.
I just did some zone 2, a bit of fat max just to see how it feels. Uh, Not gonna lie, it doesn't feel good or bad. It just feels it. The main pain is that I have to do it only in a TT position
Mm.
with a lot of stack. So that's a lot of weight on the saddle. So yeah, I'm just going through that, but hopefully in 1 month
Mm.
I'll I'll be back on the bike. Let's see how it goes.
But how's the pain?
Well, there's not much pain unless I'm changing the weight distribution.
Yeah.
So if I move my hand, yeah, it kind of hurts. If I go from up to down or from down
Mm.
to up, it kind of hurts. But other than that, I don't really have a pain. Just
And what do you plan on doing for the upcoming weeks?
I'll try to do a structured block just to make it easier over the weeks mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Because 1.5 to 2 hours they go really hard, really slow on the trainer, especially in a one position without
Yeah.
going out of the saddle or moving or
Mm.
it's just bad. And I have to stop every 30 minutes at least.
Okay.
So I stretched a bit and then
Yeah.
go back on the bike. But there's no way around it for now.
Pissed off.
We'll see. Uh, yeah, so talking about that, I'll be going back to structure training starting next week.
Okay.
So I'll try to do my uh, all my outdoor trainings indoor,
All right. And
which is our main subject for today.
yes.
Uh, so advantages and disadvantages between indoor training indoor and outdoors. Uh, which are the benefits of
Mm-hmm.
each one? How you can change your current training plan from outdoor to indoor, or the other way around. Maybe the weather gets
Yeah.
better instead of getting worse.
If you had to say five benefits of both indoor and outdoors.
For example, indoor, I think it's way safer, as that you
Yeah.
mentioned, riding in the rain with your brakes. That's really bad for safety. So
Mm-hmm.
it's way safer. It's more efficient time-wise.
Yeah.
Like if you
Especially
only
time wise.
have 1 hour, you just hop on the trainer and that's it. But if you have to go out, you have to dress, you have to do food, you have to do anything, everything. While if you have already a setup for your indoor bike, you just hop on the bike and
Mm-hmm.
start riding. And you can ask someone from your family to bring you water and food. And so, yeah. Uh, then the third one, I would say it's that it's constant. You don't have descents,
Yeah.
corners, traffic lights, stop signs. So you can do like a proper endurance ride.
Yes.
If you want to do 5 hours, you will do 5 hours with constant pressure on the pedals. It's also really good for structured training. So if you want to do intervals, I would say it's way more uh more accurate to do it indoors, because then on the road, if you do it on a climb, maybe the climb will change its slope, or you have another rider coming, or a car
Yes.
passing, or
Yes. I mean that taking into account that you're using the ERG, which is basically the function from the
yeah,
trainer, which not all the trainers have, but most of the new trainers do include it, and basically it makes you push the watts that you actually have set. Um, yeah, I think it's that's really interesting, but for me, depending on the workout, that makes it also really hard. Just not being
yeah,
able to descend or just take a roundabout, so you just
yeah.
brake for, and you're able to rest for, I don't know, 3 to 5 seconds. It's really hard, especially the hardest and most intense sessions. In my case, like 30, 30s, even 4 minutes. I like to do them with ERG and just
Yeah,
picking a climb on my Whoosh or Swift or whatever app you're
but
using.
but still, you don't have any interference, like
No, that's
if
true.
a
That
car is coming, or there's another rider in front of
yeah.
you,
Well, I mean, there's the things that stay in the wheel.
or you have a flat,
Yes,
or maybe you drop your chain during your
yes, yes,
intervals.
yes. Agree,
Then
agree. That
yeah,
now obviously it's way easier, and if you have these Zwift bikes, which are like indoor bikes,
yeah,
then it's even
like a
even
proper
better.
pain cave.
Yeah, but those are really expensive.
Yeah. And the fifth one, I would say it's that you can focus on your pedaling technique or form or whatever you're training.
Hmm.
For example, if you want to train your aero position on the TT, it's way easier on the trainer.
Would you say it's way easier? Both of us having tried it.
Yes, because like you don't have roundabouts. If you have to stay
Yeah, but you don't
40
have
minutes,
your core engaged, and that's
yeah,
one of the main things that plays an important fact in the TT. Like it's really hard to stay in the
yes.
TT position indoors. If you
But
have,
if you are only training like your efficiency, I would say it's better. But then if you have wind and
hmm,
yeah, you'll have to,
maybe if you if well, with your trainer that you use for bike fitting, maybe that one would be a bit better because the back wheel is actually
it's
wheeling.
moving.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
moving, so you need to be in some way active, but the front one is stuck into the machine, so it's not really that you need a lot of stability. Maybe if you
yeah,
have like these rollers that the mountain bikers use,
yeah.
that would be, but
But then
also
you,
a bit
you,
dangerous, a
yes.
bit dangerous, especially on
Im-
a TT.
Imagine, yeah, on the TT doing intervals on a
No,
roller.
maybe not doing intervals, but if you have to do an endurance training or just one
Yeah.
hour, maybe it's worth doing there.
But like if you want to learn how to drop your head
Mm,
and
yes.
stay down, or shrug your
Mm.
shoulders, maybe it's easier doing it in the beginning on an indoor bike, on an indoor trainer.
Also on a road bike because staying on the, which is what we usually say to everybody that tells us, how can I get faster? It's not always about the watts, but something as simple as lowering your head and your elbows closer to the body. It's a position that's really tricky and you need practice in it. Your triceps will burn a lot. It will be a very taxing position for your arms. So maybe indoors you can just train it a bit more and maybe it's not as,
Yeah.
I haven't tried it. I
It,
usually go as comfortable as possible indoors, but
it can also be for example, if there's an athlete who is just starting out on a TT bike
hmm,
or a triathlon bike, maybe it's easier to train the position indoors because maybe he's overwhelmed in riding in the
Yeah,
aero bars in the beginning. So
with the cars and everything, it's not doesn't feel safe.
yeah.
What about outdoors?
Uh, for the outdoors, I would say it's really good because you can work on handling skills.
Yeah, the main thing is
You can become a good descender. You can become a good time trialist. Well,
yeah, but still, it's an important part of cycling, like being
yeah.
able to move the bike, to know what to do, and
Like also in group rides, you learn how to do echelons, how to do pace lines. Yeah. Riding in a group, hiding behind the wheel.
yeah.
That's really important because
I
that's
mean,
cycling in the end.
if you want to race, if you just don't plan on racing and you just want to do it for an enjoy
But
type
if
of,
even if you go out with your friends, which is the second
hmm,
uh, pro for riding outdoors, it's riding for social.
hmm,
Uh, we are social uh, creatures, so we need to socialize. We need to,
yeah, be in contact with people.
yeah,
Even though I'm sure we will have some guys that just train indoors that will disagree and they'll say, "Oh no, but I have a community in Zwift, whatever."
yeah.
It's true.
The third one I would say is you will have to learn how to deal with certain things like potholes,
Hmm.
flats, descents, wet
Wind,
roads, like in your case,
yeah.
uh, just cars as well, traffic in general. Yeah.
Hmm.
What else? I would say one of the biggest ones that you somehow already mentioned is that riding indoors, you will not have your core
Hmm.
engaged. So let's take the same example with a TT bike. I would say when you have crosswinds and you have to stabilize the bike, and maybe you get scared and you go out of the aero bars and you need to go on the base bars. You learn how to do that. You learn how to control the bike, how to strengthen your core in order to,
I would say that it's something that you don't really focus on that. You
yeah,
just basically focus on keeping the bike steady, and that implies you
yeah.
being stable. So
Yeah.
it's a
It's a constant thing.
yes,
On the trainer, it doesn't happen
no, no,
because you're,
nobody's pushing you.
yeah, nobody's pushing you. Your center of gravity is more or less stable because
Hmm.
of the trainer, unless you do like big swings. Otherwise, you're pretty safe.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah,
I was gonna say back to
I have another one for
go
the
on, go on.
riding outdoors. Even though you can simulate the slope in indoors
Yeah.
with the
Okay.
like with the Wahoo kicker
Yeah.
climb, it like you get more muscle engagement riding outdoors
Yeah.
because you have different terrains and uh, different grades where there's different muscle engagement. So you get a bigger benefit actually riding
Yes.
uh,
Well, it
on the slopes.
depends on the slope that you are on a different position,
Yeah,
and that means that your hip no, the glutes will engage differently.
yeah.
If you are staying just on a regular position, your glutes don't really engage that much. If you go on a really big slope, it's only your glutes that are working.
Well,
Also on a very aero position,
yeah,
then it's the same. So yeah, it's also interesting that you're able to do a bit of them because then you'll be able also to output more power on a
yeah.
sloped terrain. If you are only always doing it on a straight line, then it's not the same. Like you could try if you don't have the kicker, super expensive thing, to use some books or
Yeah.
something that just brings your wheel slightly high. It doesn't have to be extremely high, just I don't know, a few centimeters will do the work.
Yeah. Or how am I doing it with pillows on my
Yeah.
aero bars? That also works.
One of the interesting things that it's really common to see is that people usually argue saying that indoor is better because of what you said in the beginning, that it's actually constant, that you just keep the same watts for as many hours as you can and do. And while outdoors, you just stop, you have roundabouts, you stop pedaling, now you go up, which most likely, if you are not constant, you will increase the power. So, would you actually say it's more beneficial if you just want to focus on your fitness and your progress to do indoors? If you just look at like I come to you as an athlete and I just tell you I don't care about most of the things that involve cycling, but especially just want to get my FTP, my VO2, my cardiovascular um, system stronger. Would you just go, okay, we can maybe do something on the trainer?
I would say is more about one of the benefits of the indoor training, which is the time efficiency. So if you are crunched on time and you have like 8 to 10 hours, it might be more efficient to stay on the trainer. But if you're training 20 hours, uh, that's pretty hard mentally to do it indoors. And I don't think it's mainly because I would say it's because lack of variety,
Okay.
like having different slopes and yeah, you have apps that will simulate different
Hmm.
slopes or but you're seeing the same monitor, you're seeing the same
Yeah.
things over and over. When you're riding outdoors, you get also a huge um a huge boost in hormones just because the wind is blowing on your face and
Yeah. Just also get to enjoy nature a lot.
yeah,
Like just especially here, we have a lot of back roads and main roads that are not really main roads, which are very traffic free.
yeah.
So you would you say maybe unless it's because of the weather or time, would you consider just using both indoor and outdoors?
If you're just focusing for on fitness,
Hmm.
um, I would say the best thing to do is just try to do both.
Hmm.
So the more variety, the better.
Yeah.
Just like in training. Well, depending on your goals, but yeah, because even riding outdoors for 20, 30 hours can get boring.
Yeah, that's
If you're
true.
doing the same routes,
Routes.
the same things over and over, it's the same thing.
Obviously, it's not as similar as indoors because indoors there's actually, unless you're painting your walls each day,
Or you go on a VR.
yeah, but yeah, but in my case, like I usually do the same routes over and over again. Um, but it's a bit of a discussion that we've had many times in our friend group that I usually call them efficient routes, which is the routes that I know that are 3 hours or two and a
Yeah,
half or one and a half. And I understand that people just want to do, no, I want to go here and there, and I just don't want to repeat the route. Which a friend of us really wants to do it like that. In my case, it's more, I just need to do 2 hours and a half. I just want to do as much zone two as possible. For me, it's, I don't really care if I just do the same. That's why I have so many local agents, but they are all in the same place.
the same routes. Yeah,
Yes. If you move me from there, I'm a nobody. Yeah, repetition it's really hard, and I think if you want to build something that is sustainable throughout months and the years, unless you are built in a very specific way, it's going to be really hard mentally to stay doing the same thing for over and over and over and over.
I would say that uh, one of the hardest things indoor is that you don't have an ending point. You don't have a finality.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't reach home. You
Okay.
don't go back to your uh, city sign. Uh, when you're going to Piquica, for example,
Yeah.
you're thinking, ah, I have 1 hour left.
Yes.
You don't do that on the trainer.
No, no, that's it's one of the things that we spoke in the beginning of the podcast, that having something to grab may
Yeah,
be helpful, but indoors, like I'm sure that Swift and all of these apps are really helpful for a lot of people, but still, it's
you have a route, but once you go over the route,
yeah,
then it starts again.
yes, yeah. In outdoors, it's a bit different. You just get more to get more to see more. You also get more stimuli from everything. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Today I was just looking at the sky constantly, like how long do I have until it starts raining? Where should I go? Left, right? Maybe I
So
can adapt the route.
you
Yes,
were focusing on other things.
yes,
Your mind was not only on the watch
yeah.
and only on a
And
certain
keeping the
thing.
pressure just to.
Yeah,
But I think that in our case, we have a lot of hours on the bike, so we know ourselves really good. Like
yeah,
I know the same, like while I was able to do a VO2 effort without a heart rate monitor, I can also do a zone 2 or a zone super easy ride, just not looking at the watts. I'm sure that if I keep a certain RPE that I
yeah,
know for 3 hours, I'm just gonna do the watts that I expect to
yeah,
do. So obviously it takes a lot of practice, and but yeah, for me it's having done both, because when I was doing my master's degree 2 years ago, on Monday I think I was doing indoors, or there were days that I was doing indoors, and I just can't. Like I don't know how I've been able to do these last 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe because I just need to work out, but
yeah.
it's really hard.
I would say that the best approach is like if you want to do it perfect, like close to perfection,
Mhm.
you would do most of the rides outside. But once you have high
Yeah,
intensity training or really hard intervals,
that you're
like
gonna do the watts that you are supposed to do.
yeah, just go indoor,
Mm.
do the session 1.5 hours, and that's
Mm.
it. Then maybe go outside and finish the workout, or the other way around.
Yeah. So next Tuesday, 30 minutes of VO2 and then 5 hours outdoors. No, yeah, I agree. But let's, as an example, no, for my week, I've been doing from 20 to 25 hours per week. These last 3 to 5 months, and there's no way I'm gonna do that indoors. Like I cannot do a even a 2.5 hour session. It's already a lot
Yeah.
indoors. So how can we find a similar? Because in the end, you just wanna like the load. While it's not the same, because you'll do less load as you do less hours. You're also stressing more your muscles. Like it's constant pedaling. The fatigue usually is slightly higher, or that's my take on the legs. Yeah, maybe it's mentally, but for me, it's not the same doing the a VO2 session indoors or outdoor. On if I look at the fatigue perspective, maybe it's in my case. So how can someone just try to adapt their program to match? Like, what are the things that you would try to look into? So in my case, I'm usually going for 9 to 1,000 of load on a regular week, but that's a lot of load indoors. What could I do?
So, for example, let's say during your week you have a rainy day.
Okay.
How can you adapt that into your program? You can either prioritize your uh, key trainings around that rainy day, so you don't do the rainy day outside. So you do your intervals maybe before that,
Hmm.
and let's say your ALT session afterwards.
Hmm.
Uh, or you can do it the other way around. You do most of your riding, your zone to your volume during the week, and when it's the rainy day, you just do 1 hour of your high
Okay.
intensity training, and that's it. Or, for example, it might happen that you have 3 or 4 days of rain,
Yeah.
and then maybe you don't have the option to do that much indoor.
Yes.
So you can, depending on where you are with your progression during your block, you can either take that period as a recovery, maybe it synchronizes well enough for
Yeah.
you, or what you can also do is, uh, let's say you have 15 hours during the 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing the 15 hours, maybe you manage to do 2 hours per week, per day, but then you go a higher percentage in zone two.
That is what I
So
was gonna ask.
instead of riding at 60% of your FTP, maybe you're doing 65
Yeah.
or
So
68 or
so going on a higher percentage and therefore increasing the load per hour,
yeah,
would that be some? But you then also need to take into account that it's not the same moving from a 60 to an 80%,
yeah,
because that would be tempo and that involves also
yeah,
way more of a muscular fatigue. So you can look into increasing the load, but you should also take into account which load
yeah,
are you
exactly.
are you using. So um, in my case, um, I just ride, usually do 1.5 hours up to two if I have a longer ride, and I honestly don't care about the load that I get. I just want to get a workout done.
Yeah,
But in our case, I think that once you start to get more specific on the workout, you just care more about the hard workouts. Like, I'm not gonna lose that much if I have to do 1 month of just 10 to 12 hours because of the rain.
yeah,
As long as I can do the hard sessions and take the most out of
exactly.
them, it's fine. But if you are someone who's just starting, that maybe just is looking to increase their aerobic capacity, or just trying to get a bit more of this endurance work, maybe it's not what you were looking for. And would you, the approach would be to increase the percentage, and then therefore
Yeah.
just get enough load so that you can just progressively keep increasing the load.
Yeah, so instead of maybe having 3 or 4 days of
Mm.
long zone two rides, maybe
Yes.
you can do two of them fat max with
At the same time,
longer.
the fact that you increase the load for an hour, it's not the same stress that you would get if you have the same load for 4 hours,
Yeah,
because the fact that it's longer, it also implies that your muscles are working for way longer. So the load, it's in the end a calculation of the power
yeah,
and the stress. Maybe if you don't have a power meter, it will take your heart rate for runners because it estimates the power. The Garmin watches do that. I think nowadays most of the Garmin watches do it, but it's not the same running. For especially running, I'd say running, it's even more, you feel it more, because if you go for a run, every minute it goes by,
yeah,
you feel more and more the pain. We hate running, but still it's like this, like running a marathon. It's not only because of the distance, but the time that you need to be
yeah.
running. And that's also something that maybe if you have the mental strength to stay 3 to 4 hours indoors, it could be beneficial. At the same, just trying to keep the same load, because
But then you come back to specificity. So depending on
yeah,
your
of
goal,
course, of course.
maybe it's not worth doing those 4 hours.
No, I was thinking more of as someone who just wants to start and just looking on the
Yeah,
aerobic benefit. And again, yeah, if you're a mountain biker, let's say, maybe it's not worth it doing the 4 hours, but just the intensity. If you're a triathlete, you just want hours and hours and hours.
maybe you can swim more.
For example, yes, yeah, that's an interesting thing. And we could apply the opposite. No, if you want to go from indoors to outdoors, let's say we are in the Netherlands and it was expecting rain the entire week and then it changes.
Yeah.
It just simply, you can maybe just use the week, no, to do a longer ride if you want to.
But what if you have intervals scheduled in your training?
I, I would say that it's all about adapting. Maybe you can just move the session. If you have a coach, just speak with them. Just say, what do you think about just keeping the VO2 or the LT or the whatever intensity session indoors? If it's just an hour, maybe it's worth just getting dressed for an hour and you do it indoors and then you prepare and you just bring the food and you get ready for winter so you can ride the 4 hours. You go out and enjoy it. Also, I think it's about being able to break a bit the program. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's really hard to stay. I mean, most of the listeners are not pro cyclists, so if we skip a day, and even for pros, if they skip a day, it's not gonna change anything unless you go really hard. If you take it respecting everything, it should be fine. Um, uh, I don't know. You are from Romania. The weather is way worse than it's here.
Well, not now. It's
Not
like
now.
25 degrees in
Is it?
Bucharest. Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's then something is changing. You're bringing the weather from Romania here.
Yeah.
No, but I guess that in your case you were coming across more days that you were like, I cannot go out like this.
Yeah. Uh, I just had to adapt, just like you said. I was targeting my key workouts, like my VO2 session, keeping a certain amount of days in between, at least, actually, maximum amount of days. Because then you lose the
Yeah,
adaptation from the VO2 training. So I was keeping that. And when I had the chance of going longer, I just modified a bit the program
yeah,
in order to be able to do that. And then maybe change the recovery day,
yeah.
uh, or change the week of the block, may make it a 2 week type of block instead of three
Okay.
in the progression. Uh, so yeah, if you're training indoors, that's one of the biggest considerations, is to just like training anything in endurance or strength or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You need progression. Like you need to have a progression for your training. Doesn't matter what that means. Even if it doesn't matter if it's load, volume,
Mm-hmm.
number of intervals, time in a certain um, zone, whatever you're targeting, you need to have progression in order to grow and to adapt.
Okay, now my question. What is the hardest workout that you personally have done both indoor and outdoor?
Indoor.
I
Uh,
did Alp the Swift this last year,
yeah,
end of
this winter I did Alpe du Zwift.
full
Uh,
gas.
it was not actually full gas. It was like 95%.
Okay,
Um, I didn't feel that bad, but I was rested.
okay.
I was doing from 25 hours per week. I went down to um 8 to 10.
But you also went from doing most of the things in outdoor to having
Yeah,
to stay indoor, which
yes,
I would say for us, especially that we really enjoy going outdoors, it's like when you have to go indoors, it's like, "Ugh, I don't really want to do this." So
yeah.
it also, despite being fresh, you mentally it's really hard.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to, because I already had the fitness
Hmm.
to go hard most of the days, let's say, with some recovery days in between. But I could go. maybe 3 or 4, uh, even 5 hard days per week, just because my body could take that from 25 hours to 10. Yeah. So to answer your question, I would say the hardest one that I did indoor might be something from from Trainer Road, or when I was back in the day when I was training on Trainer
Okay.
Road. There were some really, really hard uh, VO2 intervals with recovery in around threshold.
So nearly an MCT or more
Yeah,
than that.
yeah, that kind of workout,
Okay.
but like a lot of intervals. So
Yeah.
it was not like 5 intervals.
Yeah.
It was like a block of 10, and then another block of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine.
And they had like different numbers for how hard it is,
Okay.
and it was 9 point something out of 10. That was really hard. I think I did a 9.2, and then I tried a 9.5 and I failed. I couldn't do it.
I've never used Trainer Road.
So yeah, and outdoors, I would say the hardest one that I did uh, was not because of the workout itself,
It
but
can be of many things.
yeah, it was because of my fatigue.
Okay. And which was it?
I had 4 VO2 sessions
Huh.
that week, and it was one of the 30-15s where I really had to dig really deep.
Yeah, it's deadly.
It's really, really hard. I had to push.
Was it the day that we went to Romagna, both of us?
No, it was on back of else last year.
When you were getting ready for that year?
Yeah,
Mm.
that was really, really hard. But power-wise was not that hard, or
Oh, it's just the workout.
intensity-wise.
Yeah,
But doing that workout after 3 more VO2
yeah,
sessions,
yeah.
that was a killer.
No,
But from my perspective as a coach, I would say one of the hardest ones you could do is the 30-15s or the 40-20s,
yeah.
but above 10 reps,
So 10 to 13.
above 10. 10, it's manageable, but going 13 or more,
More.
yeah. Or doing 13, but 4 blocks.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the day it happens because at some point you'll make me do, well, you actually make me do 4 of
Yeah,
30-30s. For me, honestly, like one workout that is stuck in my mind was I did a super threshold workout on the TT
yeah.
indoors, and I've never recovered from that.
You're still recovering.
Yes. Uh, it was really hard because it was doing my super threshold watts from the road bike on the TT just
Yeah.
in the beginning. I was really, really bad. And outdoors, I have to say it's the second day or the first day that I did the MCT workout, just when I was starting to, like, it was before my first race, or I don't know when it was, but before summer, that I just did two sets of that workout. So from the first block that I did, I don't know if it was 1 minute and then 4 or 1 minute and 3. As soon as I started the second part of it, I said, no, like,
It was the second one after you did your PR on the first workout. So next week.
yes, could be. Yeah, I just went and I said, honestly, my heart rate is insanely high and my legs are not there, so I'm just quitting.
So for people to understand,
Yes,
you did a PR on the most common climb in here, El
yes,
Angels, during an interval session
yes,
with a recovery.
yes. No, but I mean, that session it's a good session if you want to get a PR somewhere because you can
Yeah,
use
it's
that as an
brutal.
excuse. And I was still a bit heavy for the watts I was doing. And the next week, I just tried to do the same.
Yeah.
but I didn't even make it to the third kilometer, and it was really hard. Uh, Either that or I would say that the 30-15s, but it's just because it's a really hard workout.
Yeah,
I
it's
think if you look everything, um, like how fatigued am I, how sleep's been going, how this or that, and I honestly think that the hardest workout that I'll have is a TT race. I think
mm,
the kind of effort it's going to be, it will be really hard because, well, for me, it's my type of racing, like just something that's really constant, but you're going so close to your limit.
I
So
would
it feels
say,
like it's really close to an MCT workout in the end because you're just staying like the average power of the MCT block is basically your FTP.
yeah,
So if you're riding for 30 minutes at your FTP or close to your FTP, it's
but the difference is that during a race you're not suffering that much because you're fresh, you're pushing a bit more, you're feeling great, you have caffeine, adrenaline,
yeah,
maybe
maybe.
some bicarbonate. It's a bit easier. So yeah, of course you're
Mm.
suffering a lot, but I would say you're suffering a bit more during the workouts.
Well, in the during the week you're always fatigued. So it's something
But what's different during the race is that you suffer a lot more at the end.
afterwards.
No, at the end of the race. So the final last
Okay.
8 minutes or
That's why
so,
why for me it feels like it has to be like harder because you've been
you're
because you
emptying
yeah,
everything.
exactly, and you've been already going, if not close to the limit, slightly above.
Yeah,
So it means that you have to do the last part, which you would like to go harder because of what you do in your workouts, you then have to push even more.
yeah.
And that's for me, it's it's appealing, but it's also scary. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a short and nice workout.
So the hardest workout is basically racing.
Yeah.
Uh, the
Actually, one really hard workout indoors that we both skip is a Swift race.
yeah,
That's
I
really
did
hard.
that
That's really
in the
hard.
winter.
The first one that I did, after 5 minutes, I was already left behind. And it was a C type of race because
Oh
back then I wasn't that strong. And I was doing already over what
yeah, of
was
course.
my FTP or my everything. And after 5 minutes, I was going alone. And I was like, well, it is what it is.
What was the best result that you got in a Zwift
I
race?
think I only did one or two maybe. But yeah, not even close to
I think now you can do A.
what's the power?
No, I think it's above 4.5 or something, or above 4.
Yeah, but I would suffer there. I would suffer a lot. I mean, I could do with ERG and just do 4.5 for an hour. Maybe I can finish at some good position, but
So let me check because I'm really curious. It's above 4.2.
so then yes. Yeah, but I would suffer a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard.
If the weather if the weather keeps the same philosophy of now rain, now sunny, and
That could be a really good workout.
yeah,
Considering you're doing indoors, it can be a
yeah.
good VO2 session, just like a really hard group ride outdoors.
You know how much I hate things like Wednesday Worlds.
Why? Why do you hate?
No, in my case, it's because of the type of the racing. Let's say in racing,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
basically a
a
open
race.
traffic.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, in we have a friend here who started organizing
Yeah,
this event in Girona, which basically we meet at some hour in a place and then we just do a loop, 70K loop. We do like was it like 10, 15 as all together, and from the out of a small village, we just go full gas.
Yeah.
And it's literally nobody's waiting for you. And most of the people that come to that event with the mind that I'm gonna go really fast, you're only going to go fast if you keep up the pace, because
Yeah.
they're gonna leave you behind. And if we, well, the few times that I've been there, unless the group is really big and we are relatively close after the first climb, we just keep going. Like, if
Yeah.
there have been some times that been only 4 or 5 that we make it to the first climb, and we just keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really hard event, and it's just basically doing an echelon for 70K.
Yeah. And if you're skipping turns, people will tax you.
Yes. And for me it's really hard because I'm more of a keeping the same pace. Really hard pace, but just keeping the same
No,
pace.
let's just do 400 watts
Yes, but for
for the
30
entire
minutes, for 30
hour.
minutes. That would be my but even at 400 watts you're no one there. Like, people will just push 450 and then just take turns, and that is
Yeah.
faster than just doing 400. But yeah, it's really hard, and I think I'm not that. But again, like, I just need to get also that on happening, because after the TT from April, I'll be also doing the Gran Fondo.
Yeah.
And
That could be good training.
yes, taking into account the profile, I think it maybe is a good profile for me, because it has a couple of climbs, not so big, and then it's mostly flat, so I can go on my TT. The thing that it was actually one of the reasons why I was trying to find something positive from the rain. Like, if it rains on any of the races that I do, I kind of feel a bit more comfortable. Not especially comfortable, but it's a big step for me. Like, uh,
Because now you've been
yeah,
training
I've
in
been,
the rain,
yeah,
basically.
like literally, I've been training 15 hours in the rain. So, and I'm not that scared. It's just that you get so cold. I think that's the worst.
Yeah. And besides not being that safe, it can also affect your immunity system because you're already fatiguing
Mm.
yourself with training, and changes in temperature
Mm.
can act really hard on your immunity.
Yes, actually, oh, well, the last time that I crashed, um, it was down Los Angeles. So for those who don't know, it's a really famous climb here. And what I did that was really bad, and I just want to say it so that nobody makes the same mistake. So I crashed, and then I had to descend for 7K at really low speed. So I got really, really cold. And when I got home, the first thing that I did was got into a really hot shower, and my girlfriend we have a small fan that just hits like a heater, like a
Yeah,
heater. I passed out, literally passed out because of the temperature change. So
yeah,
today, for example, I was really conscious about that, and I just first just like, I was so cold, but okay, just first a towel, then I just used the heater and warmed myself a bit. And when I was feeling more comfortable, like not that cold, I just went into the shower. Like, just do it step by step, because otherwise you're gonna pass
yeah,
out, and it was not enjoyable. Which is also something that you can benefit from the indoor training. And also, one thing that just came out to my mind is heat acclimation.
yeah. It's a good thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can do a lot more easier heat training indoors. Like unless it's summer, you won't get
No,
the heat adaptations that you're looking for.
and heat adaptations have a huge benefit
Yeah.
for endurance training, so it's also to take into account.
So this week we had Paris-Nice
Hmm.
and Tirreno.
Yes,
Um, in Tirreno we had a really nice TT.
the team time trial. Was it the team time trial, right?
No, that was in
In Paris.
Paris-Nice. That was also really nice. You could see Jumbo going full
Yes,
gas.
they are the best at that.
Yeah. Uh, what else? We had also the crash of Jonas.
Jonas.
Yeah,
I think that Paris-Nice had more of drama than racing
yeah,
because of which I mean I understand it. There's a lot of people saying that, well, if now we are complaining for each climb that we need to descend when it's wet, this is not cycling anymore. But it's really easy to say from the sofa.
yeah.
Uh,
It's really easy when you're not descending at
yeah,
70 km an hour in a wet corner.
yeah. I think it's a really hard topic because in Paris, like Paris-Nice, the guys from Movistar, I don't know his name, Pablo Castillo, and the other guy was doing a really good season. I don't know, can't remember his name. They were like complaining like, just can we go now? We're getting cold, but we just can keep going. The storm, it stopped, and there were some guys from the peloton like Jonas and from Ineos. I think they didn't want to start. They want to finish the race, and that caused a bit of drama. And then Jonas lost to um, the guy from UAE. What's his name? Portuguese?
Ayuso.
No,
Uh,
well, Spanish.
Almeida.
Almeida, yes, he lost to Almeida, so he was then complaining on the interview. So I think it's something it's really complicated to solve, but I think at some point UCI needs to somehow regulate when are we racing, when are we not, because it was really dangerous,
Yeah,
and the riders are going faster and faster, crashing more and more.
they're going faster. They are wearing
Yeah.
e-helmets
So
during
yeah,
those
we
races.
still have one stage left for Paris-Nice, which is a climbing stage, and
So Jorgensen is gonna win.
most likely
Yeah,
because
he
Almeida lost a lot of time
he
yesterday.
has like 40 seconds
Mm.
in front.
But he doesn't have Jonas now to be his um, domestic in a
Yeah,
way. It was a strange, mm, how do I say it? A strange tactic from Jumbo. Like on the stage that Jonas lost to Almeida, you didn't really know who was the leader. Like, is it Jonas? Is it Jorgensen?
why not have
Yeah, that's
two of
true.
them?
And I think that Jorgensen just bonked at some point or just
Yeah,
couldn't do more. And then Jonas said, then see you. But Jonas didn't do the best, sadly. But yeah, I think it was, if you ask me, it's not the best. I mean, Jonas will do way, way better. There was a lot of people saying that Jonas, he's not in the best shape because it's not his focus. Like he's 100% focused on the tour, and we'll see how it goes.
yeah, that's also true.
But it's for me, it's good seeing Jorgensen doing good, being able
Yeah,
to win. And from Tirreno, it's also one stage left, which is not especially hilly. It has one climb and then it's a flat. And we have on the GC Juan Ayuso, and he's got Antonio Tiberi at 37 seconds. So looks like Ayuso will take the win.
so again, UAE and Jumbo is dominating
Yeah,
uh, both.
yeah. Well, they have the strongest riders. But Roglic has only raced once this season in Algarve.
Yeah,
So maybe if he was in any of, I think Jorgensen would have a bit of a hard time if Roglic goes full gas
yeah.
with a good team.
I'm really curious if now Jonas will come to Volta Catalunya anymore.
Why do you say that?
Uh, because he retired from Paris-Nice. So I don't know if he's gonna follow his current schedule and he'll be here for Volta
Mhm.
Catalunya.
I
So,
mean, in pro cycling stats, it says that he's coming,
okay,
but I don't know if it's confirmed.
let's see. It would be nice to
Yes.
see him taking the KOM on
Let me
Santa
check if
Pelaya.
it's. Yeah, it will be impossible now to do a good time in any of the climbs. They are doing Santa Pelaya and then the one you still haven't done from San Pere.
Yes.
They'll do like in a group
Yeah.
less than 20 minutes. It's gonna be really really. It's actually a good place to, well, not you, but to go by bike and just see the stage there because it's a really nice climb.
Mm-hmm.
It's also
And
really open and it will be really nice.
and for Santa Pelaya, what do you think it's gonna be the
Do you
KOM
want to do
time?
a bet?
Yeah,
So,
time wise.
the social race from Casa, the guy that did it faster, he did 11:30, which
Vale.
which is a minute and 20 seconds less than RPR, and it's 40 seconds from the KOM because the KOM I think it's just slightly over, just slightly under 11 minutes.
Okay.
The thing is that it's in the middle of the race. It's not.
It's still a good place to go if you are a punchy guy.
Also, as a thing to compare it, last year they did the backside of Los Angeles in 20 seconds more than the KOM.
Yeah. And that was just the peloton.
Yeah, just cruising.
Yes.
So, I would like to say less than 10 minutes, but it's a 6K.
Yeah. Yeah. At
So,
4 point something percent,
yeah,
the average.
10 minutes, 10 minutes, you go on
They could
35.
go if there's a breakaway or
A 35 is doesn't as in a group, it doesn't feel like that much.
no, like we were going close to 30 during your effort.
So yeah, maybe over or under 10.
I would say just above, just a
Okay.
bit above, like maybe 5 to 10 seconds. That's my guess.
Okay, yeah, I'd say 10, 15, just to choose a,
Okay.
a good number.
So you're going higher than me.
Yes. Great. Then let's leave it here.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed the podcast and you can take a lot of advantage from what we've spoken regarding indoors and outdoors. Please let us know what you thought about it. So yeah, just leave a like, a comment, and anything that would help us in improving. And we'll see you guys next week. Neu.
Adeu.